Hey guys, it's Kempy back again with CMAC and another edition of the Burrow Podcast. An important game this week. On Friday, we take on the Bulldogs of the Core and a must-win game, Callum.
Mate, I think calling it an important game, a must-win game, is an absolute understatement. This is everything. This is our biggest game of the last 4 years. This is definitely our biggest game of the season. This is our season right here, in my opinion. I know that, if we were to lose, we're still alive, but I just feel like with the way everything's going, this is it for us, and I know that you feel the same.
Look, I do, because the outcome of this game will pretty much mean that we're playing finals football. I've alluded to it in previous podcasts or whatnot, and look, I know that we'll still be in the 8 should we lose this game, but I just want to have that gap over the Dogs, safe space, and winning will do that. It'll give us a 4-point gap over the Bulldogs, which is essentially a 3-game difference with their points differential. And pretty much it is a must-win game for the Bulldogs. It's more a must-win game for the Bulldogs than it is us, because if they lose this and the Cowboys win, that's their season.
For sure. It's a battle of two historic clubs. They're one of our biggest rivals, and just has that added spice of both teams being so desperate. Like it's going to be crazy, really. It's basically a finals game, really, isn't it? It's gonna feel like a finals game for both teams, really. Look, I'm hyped, but you always give me shit for being nervous every week. I think it's well and truly valid to be nervous this week. Honestly, like, it's only Tuesday, but every time I think about this game, even if I've been at work and my mind sort of wanders to the game, I just feel like I feel anxious. That's how freaking big this is.
No, it is a big game, but we are there. It is an away game, yes, but we do get reciprocal rights. You are able to use your card. For Burrow members, we will be in 146, go through gate B, use your card to get in. That's all fine. For other members than that, you check with the club, but I believe you guys are up on level 4. So I think GA members and Burrow members are in that section there. So make sure you do check, but also don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. But it is Teamless Tuesday. We'll quickly go through the side and then discuss that anyway. So the team that was listed just shortly, not long ago, was Matt Duffy at fullback, Alex Johnston, Campbell Graham on the wings, Tallis Duncan, Jack White in the centres, Cody Walker in the halves with Bud Sullivan at halfback, Junior Totola, Keon Koloamatangi in the front row, Brandon Smith at hooker, David Fafita, Adam Elliott in the back row with Cam Murray locking captain. On the interchange bench, Jai Gray, Lachlan Hubner, Sean Kepi, Ewan Aiken, Pete Mamazelos, Ed Corsi, Jonah Glover, Liam LeBlanc, John Rattle, and of course we're coached by Wayne Bennett. A very, very strong side still named, despite missing Ashton Ward.
Yeah, look, it wasn't quite the news that we wanted today. I mean, we all knew that Wardy was going to be out, but I'm sure we were all really hoping that Jamie was going to be in to be our halfback, but not to be. Bud is our only option. I've spoken about how I feel about Bud's footy on here before. Like, I don't particularly rate him, and I'm a little bit concerned that he's our halfback. He hasn't won a game as a starting halfback ever in his career, and I just think he has really limited strings to his bow. So, look, I'm gutted about that with the team. But look, despite that, it's not all doom and gloom. It's still a really, really good side, and I think it's a side that well and truly can beat the Dogs if we play well. Campbell Graham coming in, massive. That clears up another weakness under the high ball, with their kicking game. That's huge to have him back, and Ewan Aiken coming onto the bench as well is that helps to balance things out a little bit as well. Other than that, we look very settled and well and truly ready to go, and it's still an exciting side for me despite the halfback position.
A couple of things that I kind of thought maybe we could adjust the team a little bit. I guess with Ewan Aiken, with his illness and just coming back, they're probably looking to ease him into the game. I get that, but I would have probably felt better having him start over Adam Elliott, but I get why. Second of all, with that bench named, Jamie Humphries out, who comes on as hooker to take over from Brandon Smith, and do we bring Pete in?
It has to be. It 100% has to be. We can't, in a game like this, I feel like we can't have, someone like Adam Elliott or Jai Gray or someone out of the ordinary going into dummy half. We need a specialist dummy half. And look, you and I throughout the season, and a lot of South fans have been calling for Pete to come back into the side, and I think he's going to get his chance, and I actually think he can add a lot to our side off the bench, when the zing's gone out of that game and the packs are getting a little bit more tired. I honestly feel like he can add a lot to our side. So it has to be him. What do you reckon?
I agree. I agree 100% there. I think this is the time to get Pete into the side. Those without Jamie, without Bronson Garlick, he's the only one remaining now. And look, I'd probably would have had him ahead definitely of Bronson, but again, we're not Wayne Bennett. He's got his reasons why. Who knows what they are? We hear rumours, whatever, but I mean, he's a coach and he'll pick the side that he sees fit.
Yeah, we're just armchair experts at the end of the day, and you can't argue. You can't argue with the master coach, I guess. And we're not inside the four walls either. So yeah, no. I hope that Pete gets a game. Honestly, I hope that he comes on, and I hope that he kills it.
No doubt. He does make mistakes, and he has made mistakes throughout his 900 odd games at his coach, almost coming up to 1,000.
Yeah, still human.
But yeah, it's easy to sit here and criticise or say what we would have done. We're not the ones that our reputation is on the line either. So he has his reasons, but I hope this week that we do see Pete get on the field to come on for the cheese.
Yep, I agree. I definitely feel like that's the way to go. Obviously, look, injuries are going to play their part as well. If we get a early backline injury or something, God forbid, that'll mean Jai has to come on. That'll change the strategy. But I think all going well, Pete will definitely get a game.
Are you worried about Campbell Graham coming back too early?
Look, I mean, I definitely am a little bit worried. It doesn't really sound like he's 100%. It sounds like this is one of those sort of, big game, must-win game. We need him in to play. So I am a little bit worried about him, not going to lie. But at the same time, it was reported on NRL.com that he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. But Wayne has always said just 1 week. So is it actually that bad? Are you worried about him, Kempy?
I'm just saying that we've rushed players back before and they've re-injured. That's the thing I'm more worried about. We don't know what the actual injury is.
Yeah. Do you think that this is the kind of game where we need to be rushing guys back, though, to get the win?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And look, with what we've got coming back, especially the young guys that can, because look, right now, as of last week, we needed to put Jai Gray in there, and we got the 2 points. We got through that. If we can get through this week, if we can get Campbell through this week, that'll be great, added bonus. And if the worst happens and he needs another week or 2 off, you got Penatane coming back next week. You got Isaiah Tassett's back in New South Wales Cup. The other one is Dane Jennings, not out for the season. For the season. He hasn't been named in any side this week, but I believe that they'll be doing a test on him tomorrow to make a decision tomorrow whether he plays flag or not this week against the Dogs at Belmore. And if that's the case, he's another one that could come up into first grade should that happen. So it is an important game.
And a big one you're leaving out as well, Latrell. He reports he was training today. I'm sure we'll get to that. But we'll talk about that more. Yeah, but I want to go back to Bud Sullivan and a couple of things that he brought up. And he hasn't won as a starting halfback. He has won games starting at 5/8, but not as a halfback. And I think the closest he came to winning a game at halfback for us was in round 2, and that was when Alex Johnston broke the all-time record, the try-scoring record, and I thought that game was there to be won. I think the disruption probably hurt us a bit, but what does he need to do to get us over the line? What does Bud Sullivan need to do? What part does he need to play? Look, the biggest thing is his defensive role for me. He's going to have that left edge of the Dogs coming at him, Stephen Crichton, Matt Burden, and the biggest one, Viliame Kikau. So look, the biggest part of his game is his defence, but I think the other part is his kicking game. Look, I think we definitely, with him there, we lack a little bit of a kicking game, so we need him to be the best he possibly can be there. And other than that, we just in attack, I think we need him to be serviceable. You know, I'm confident in our right edge outside him. I'm confident in our left edge. I'm confident that someone like Cody, you know, is going to step up and own the side. His round again, Indigenous round, big game for him. I'm confident that he's hopefully going to have a big night. So, look, defence, kicking game, and he's just, other than that, he's just got to play that link man, be serviceable, and not make any errors. I know it's easier said than done, but look,
I want to point out something. Last week, he played 52 minutes, something like that. He played over 50 minutes, 0 runs, 0 meters.
Yeah,
and we need to see better from him.
Definitely.
It's a lot harder to come into a game like that as a halfback. It's a lot harder to do that. But we had a big lead and we lost that lead. I think what we scored, was it 1 or 2 tries when he was on?
One try.
So the last try, he came on just of course, because there was a goal kick that saw Ward come off. So that was after the 5th try that he came off. But what I feel we need from him is to engage the line more, to give depth. His passes need to be on. There was a couple of passes that went astray, things like that. So, because the Bulldogs defensively have been very good.
Yeah. They're going to be hard to break down, aren't they?
That's their biggest improvement, their defence.
Yeah.
Dave Fafita is going to have to act as a bodyguard for Bud there with Kickow coming, and he's going to have his work cut out for him as well defensively. But I've also got to say, we're going to not let them get in those positions. We've got to complete.
Yeah.
We complete like the first half, we're going to give ourselves every chance to win. We complete like the second half, we're going to struggle.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is another one of those games. You know, Dogs are a really tough side. They're a good side. They're playing up to the standard of finals footy, but I still feel like it's one of those games where if we get our game right, we play well. I feel like we've got more than they do. You know, if both teams are playing well, I feel like we're at that sort of slight level above them on paper. But you're right. You know, we've just got to do everything right, do all the little things right, get our attitude right as well. I mean, I think maybe this is where the second half last week helps a little bit, because for the boys, last week will almost feel like a loss, to be honest. So it's almost like that bounce back factor will be there. But even if it wasn't, the boys will know how big of an occasion this is. They'll know what they need to do. So look, I'm not too worried about our attitude. I think it's going to be there, and it has to be for sure in a big game.
Well, we're also at a place where we've got a good run at the moment in the course. So we've won all the games this year. I think we won a couple late last year. So we're on a good stretch there, and it seems to be a really happy hunting ground for us at the moment. So it's all on the line this week to keep that streak going, and of course the Warriors the week after. But what does a loss do to us this week?
I don't even want to think about it. I don't know whether that could be the sort of the straw that breaks the camel's back. You know, if we were to lose, you know, if we lose, Dogs are level with us, and then you know they have a much softer run home than us in the last 3 games. I think they play Penrith, Canberra, and I forget the other side, but.
They got smashed by Canberra not long ago as well. So
well, that is true. But look, a loss just, you know, it means that we're relying on beating one of the Warriors or the Roosters in those final 3 games, and we're relying on them to drop a game or 2. So it just puts us in a really,
so the thing is, this is a scenario. They win. We're equal on points, but we're much superior points differential. So if we were to win 2 and they won 2, we'd be in. So the one game that they're most likely to drop would be the Panthers. I noticed that it was Edwards, and what's their centre, the young kid, McLean. We're both named on the extended bench. So even if they don't play this week, they're not far off. So they'll be close to full strength, even though Isaiah Yeo's out, and he got some good news during the week. Or it would be good if we could get that sort of news for our top players.
Yeah,
we did with Cam Murray, so there is that. But if we were to, after that, if we were to win 2 and they were to win 2, we would go through. So it is. I know you say it's tough because you got the Warriors and Roosters, and you got to win one of those games, which kind of puts more nerves on us. Whereas if we win this week, we just have to win one game, so the scenario is, or even if we lose all our 3, they'd have to win all 3 to overtake us.
Yeah.
So there's huge ramifications this week on the top 8.
Yeah.
Are you a bit nervous because of if Souths win, that basically decides the top 8. So there's nothing left, no scenario left. Are you a bit worried that there could be kind of officiating that may favour one team and not the other? I'm putting my tinfoil hat on right now.
Big time, to be honest with you, man. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but just watching a lot of the Dogs games in recent week, it feels like the NRL wants him in the finals, just some of the stuff that's happened, some of the calls they've got. I don't know. To me, it just feels like that's what the NRL would prefer. So, look, I haven't actually seen.
If they feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel like they're getting a bit rorted.
Yeah, they can play either way. So I definitely feel like we've got to be prepared for that. Who is the ref? I hadn't had a look who the ref is.
I haven't seen who the ref is. I'll actually see if I can find it now.
I'm really hoping it's not Adam G or Grant Atkins. But look, either way, whoever it is, we've got to take that out of the equation.
Yeah, look, I can't see who the ref is. I'm just looking at the Bulldogs side, and let's speak a bit about the Bulldogs side. You mentioned one threat, and obviously the other threats, their back row. And
yeah, for sure.
Where else do you see their threat?
Look, of course, as we say, Preston and Kikau are a big threat, but I think that their left edge is the main one for us. I mean, Stephen Crichton's gone to 5'8", and I think that he's one of the biggest reasons why the Dogs have sort of had this resurgence. He's playing great footy. He's one of their main danger mans. Him and Matt Burden, for sure. I think they're their biggest threats. Burden's, just got so much his game, speed, agility, but that kicking game as well of Burden's. I think that he'll be unleashing a few high kicks.
That's going to be tough because, I mean, we've seen Latrell when he was playing centre and also fullback be able to come in and take some pressure off to do those kicks, but it is hard sometimes to get that happening on the run. So he may be limited in how much he does kick. Stephen Crichton is another one that's got a big boot on him as well, but
yeah,
we don't really. The only one that we have really with a big boot is Jack White.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I'm part of me's hoping that Jack could come in and we could find a way to get Jack to have some big clearing kicks. But again, I don't know if it'll happen. But look, the other threats for the Dogs are obviously, he's much maligned and he can be hot and cold, but Lachlan Galvin at his best, there's no doubt about that as a threat. And I think the other big one is Jacob Carrier is out on that wing. He's been sort of there or thereabouts for Origin the last couple of years, so he's at that level sort of player. So I think he's another really big threat for them. Do you sort of see anyone else that I haven't mentioned as a big threat for the Dogs?
Well, their forward pack. You've got Max King and Leo Thompson starting to show some form there. The weak-gutted dog Jamin Salmon's playing some good football as well. But Inari Tuala is another one that seems to be going quite well. I think that was the first loss they had with him at centre since he moved to centre. So they're on a bit of a roll before that, but their weakness, where do you see it?
I definitely think that a big weakness for them is, I've just mentioned Galvin as a threat for us in defence. I think that he's definitely a spot for us attacking the line for sure. I think that's a big, big spot to get at. And I think their left edge is a little bit vulnerable. Their right edge is a little bit vulnerable defensively as well. So hopefully that matches up well against our left edge. But I also think that our forward pack, theirs is really, really good, but I think that ours on paper has the opportunity to get one up on them. I think that's another area where we, a crucial area that we have to get on top of them.
What about Renakama? High ball.
Yeah, definitely Rabbitoh, especially up against Campbell Graham. We know how much of a target Campbell Graham is. I'll be sending as many of our attacking kicks that way as I possibly could.
Yeah, and you do. You have to test him, and you have to compete for the ball as well, because every time we compete for the ball, we actually look quite good. We haven't done it enough. And yeah, it's just, look, how do we cope with Cam Murray coming off? That was a big turning point of the game last week. How do we do it this week? How do we combat that?
Oh, I think somehow we have to combat that with not having Cam and Cheese off at the same time, in my opinion. Like, obviously, Cheese is going to sort of play
those. That's not going to happen. With them both starting, that's not going to happen.
You reckon?
Yeah, I can't see
that. I
was
think Cam could play longer minutes. Yeah, possibly. I was thinking, Cam could play longer minutes. He could bring Cheese off after sort of 20, 25 minutes. And then when Cam comes off, that's when Cheese comes on for a stint through the middle, possibly. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Possibly. That's the way I could see it. But possibly, Adam Elliott, Ewan Aitken's another one that could come on and offset that a little bit defensively. Yeah. But look, the reality is as well, can you offset it? Like Cam is that kind of player. Like,
look, it's about minimising damage. It's about minimising damage, and we didn't do that last week. In the first 10 minutes of the second half, they put on 18 points to Eels, so it is a worry, and we do need to kind of minimise damage. If we can get through that period with Cam off, not conceding or only conceding one try, I think that's a win for us.
Yeah, I agree. And look, a guy I kind of want to call out a little bit, I think Lachlan Hubner needs to, talking about that, Lachlan Hubner really needs to step up this week. Have been a little bit disappointed with his form, particularly his defence. So I feel like it's a big game for him to really step up and hopefully cover that loss a bit better.
Yeah. And we've talked about how we're going to win this and whatnot, and it's going to be a decent sized crowd.
Be massive.
And I do know that ticket sales are a bit slow at the moment. I do know that as of yesterday, but hopefully ticket sales do go up. We do need it. South fans got to get out there. I understand a lot of people are a bit worried about the Dogs fans. The members are up on level 4. They'll be away from the Dogs fans anyway, but look, I'm expecting a crowd of 25,000 plus this week.
Yeah, I hope so. And look, the occasion absolutely deserves it. I mean, we know how big and passionate the Dogs supporter base is, and ours are, we've still got one of the biggest. I know we don't really have that attendance culture at the moment, possibly, but we've still got one of the biggest fan bases in the game. So look, I understand, as you say, concerns around the Dogs fans, but you can't be, I guess the best way to not be intimidated by that is to get our numbers there and try and intimidate them as well, drown them out. So
yeah, true. And look, you mentioned Karaz, they're up against AJ, and it was a game early. I think AJ kind of got caught out a bit in defence against Karaz, didn't he? And he has improved since then, and he needs to be on his game defensively. He doesn't need to stop Karaz.
For sure. I mean, Karaz has probably got a bit of a speed advantage there, to be totally honest with you.
I wouldn't say speed, I'd say strength.
Yeah.
I say more strength. And Karaz does seem to be playing a little bit injured, but his strength's still there.
Definitely. But look, it's to be honest with him, I think it's a relatively even matchup, to be totally honest with you. So I'm excited to see how that one plays out for sure.
Well, it's funny because the Dogs will be looking at the other end, and you cannot give AJ any sort of space. And because the way he hits the ball, the timing and everything, if he's even a fraction just on the outside of you, he'll get through. And he leads the league with line breaks. He leads the league with average tries per game. I know he's not top try scorer, but he's played less games than Tommy Jenkins. So, but if you do it per game, he's actually scored the most tries per game. And I looked at a stat the other day. Since 2020, AJ has played 136 games. Guess how many tries he scored? I'll put you on
400.
the spot.
That's what it feels like. What do you say? 138 games?
138 off 130, whatever. It's close to that, yeah.
I'd say 145 tries.
152 tries.
Oof, not bad strike rate, that's for sure.
And one of those years in 13, the year that he did his Achilles, in 13 games, he only scored 8 tries. So, but it just shows how impressive his scoring rate has been since 2020. But anyway, we'll move on from the game now, and we're going to go to our regular weekly segment with Cody for Cody's weekly stats. Hit it, Cody.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to another edition of Cody's Weekly Stats. This week, we take on the Bulldogs this Friday night. There have been 172 games played between the two teams. The Rabbitohs have won 82, have lost 86, and 4 draws thrown in there. Our biggest loss came in 2003, 62 points to 12, and it's the most points we have conceded. Our biggest win came in 2021 when we won 38-0. And the most points we have scored back in 1953 was 51 points, where we won 51-15. Our longest losing streak is 16 between 1973 and 1980, while our longest winning streak is 13, and that came in 1950 to 1956. We have played 40 games at Accor Stadium. The Bulldogs have won 21. The Rabbitohs have won 19. The Rabbitohs have won 7 of the last 10 games against the Bulldogs. 4 of the last 5 games have been decided by less than 10 points. 6 of the last 8 games have had the winning team scoring 30 points or more. Rabbitohs have won 7 straight games at Accor Stadium. The highest regular season attendance crowd came in 2025, where 65,303 fans packed Accor Stadium. The Rabbitohs have scored an average of 34 points while conceding 17 points at Accor Stadium in 2026. Latrell Mitchell has scored the most points by a Rabbitohs player, scoring 26 points in the 50 points to 16 win over the Bulldogs in 2023. Les Brennan has scored the most tries, scoring 4 tries. Alex Johnston has scored 18 tries in 20 games, including scoring a hat-trick back in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Cody. Make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Cody's Footy World, where you get to see all my latest reactions to each of the Rabbitohs games. Go to Rabbitohs.
Thank you, Cody. Now, we've got the injury news today on Ashton Ward saying that he's out for the season. Huge blow for us without losing our halfback, but even bigger blow for Ashton Ward, who was playing some very good football and was looking like he was going to be leading the team around playing finals football.
Oh, mate, I'm devastated about that, to be honest. I mean, obviously we've got to make the finals first, but if we do get there, it's a massive hammer blow to our hopes, particularly if Jamie's going to struggle injury-wise as well. Your Wardy was well and truly our first choice halfback, playing great footy, just starting to come into his own, and then this happens. It is devastating for sure. Yeah, it's going to be hard to cover. Honestly, he's got to that level. He's going to be really hard to cover up.
And of course, there was Jamie Humphries. He's a week-to-week proposition right now, and I would have had him at halfback if he was fit and firing to take over. I would have preferred that rather than Bud. And who knows, maybe that's the way they will go when he's fit and available. But
I hope so.
It's just a shame to constantly getting injuries every time we look like we're getting a few back. And just on Jamie Humphries, there was a report that he's now looks like he could be re-signing. It's only rumour. I don't know. I've just read it online, but it does seem like a few people are suggesting that he's now staying.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Hopefully, it's been reported.
You never know. Yeah, well, there's been reports that he was going to Perth. That turned out that didn't end up happening. There was reports he was going to the Dogs and even the Tigers. So who knows what will happen until it's official? You just never know. But if we do, it'd be great to have him sticking around, especially with his versatility.
Definitely, I love Jamie. I absolutely love Jamie. I've said right from the start that I'd love him to stay for sure. And as you say, particularly now that he's really emerged that he can play multiple roles and even halfback. You look, if he can be our halfback, moving forward and into the finals if we make it. I'm still confident that he can do a job. You think back to some games earlier on the season, and we're playing great with Jamie as our halfback. So yeah, I hope he stays. I know he's my partner's personal favourite player. I like to think that's for his football ability, not so much his looks, but you'll have to ask her.
All guns.
Yeah, she'll be stoked if he stays as well. But look, he's a great bloke as well. A big part of being her favourite player is the way he is with the fans.
Interacts with fans, yes.
Yeah. Every time we go over there, he'll stand there for, honestly, 10, 15 minutes after training and had a really, really good yarn to you. So
that's really nice.
I'd like to stick around.
Yeah, I don't really get to go down to training because of work commitments or whatever, but and especially where I live as well, it's a bit harder to get out there. But just a couple more injuries. I spoke about Penatane. Him and Jennings were doing some light running a training today. They seem to be, even at times they were going full speed, and they're not far off at all. Penatane did say that he was aiming to be back at the Warriors game. As I alluded to before, Jennings could be a chance for flag this week. It's funny, another one that was announced out of the season, just like Elliott was, all of a sudden back. So hopefully with announcing of Ward out for the season, that could be...
that'd be nice.
He could be back early.
It'd be nice if we got far enough that, far enough into the finals, right at the pointy end that Ward could come back.
Would you do that, though, in a finals game, having that much time off?
Yeah, and I guess, look, if we get that far with whoever is our halfback,
we're doing something right. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it'll be great having those two guys back. They're got speed, athleticism, something that we really do miss in the back line. And it'd be great having them as options. Whether they play or not, it's a different thing, but having them as options will be a huge lift to the side. Who knows? Penatane could play cup this week. You just never know, because just because they're not named doesn't mean they won't play. We've seen that before, but if not this week, next week. And the other one, we're kind of hopeful. There was a little bit of a murmur around this morning with Latrell out there at training, and of course him and his wife just had a baby recently. So congratulations, Latrell, to you and the family. Another bub on the way that's here, and another Rabbitoh in the family.
Yeah, massive congratulations, Trell, to you and the family. His family's definitely growing quite big now, so yeah, it's awesome for them. But look, of course, it's a shame to not have Trell back this week. A couple of weeks ago, we were all sort of thinking, we might be back for that Dogs game, and like he'll be gutted to miss Indigenous round as well. But he was out there running today.
I think he's back next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think having him out there running today, he was doing a fair bit of running from what I understand, and I think he'll be back against the Warriors.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
As long as there's no other setbacks, that is.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And look, either way, whatever happens this weekend, that's massive. Like if we lost, massive for Trell to come back and hopefully help bounce back. But look, if we win, even better. Like he comes back against a strong side and possibly gives us a genuine chance against them. So
the thing is, we win this week, and having Latrell back, our next aim. So our aim right now is to make top 8. The next aim, if we happen to come up against the Warriors, win that, we're all of a sudden looking at a home semi-final. And we need Newcastle to lose at least one game in the run-in and us win all our games. So it's getting a bit tight there, but that should be our aim to, if we win this week, get a home semi-final. That should be the next aim. So
yeah, definitely. Latrell would help massively with that if he come back. So
unfortunately, at the moment, that is out of our hands because we need results to go our way. But we can do what we need to do. And a bit of a rumour that's been popping up lately, and I've seen it today come up a fair bit, is Liam LeBlanc has gone to the Panthers. So bit of a loss, but for Liam, it gives him a great opportunity, doesn't it, to go into a great system.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit gutted to hear that because I do rate Blanky, particularly defensively, and I was hoping at the start of the year that he'd get a little bit more game time than he has this year. But look, you can't blame him. Like he kind of has been a little bit stuck down that pecking order, and Penrith, especially with the way that their roster could be reshaping over the coming years, it is a really, really good opportunity for him to go there. Best system in the game, learn a lot, and potentially break into a side full time. So yeah, I mean, Gutted to lose him.
Look at what they did with guys like Garner from the Tigers. It was kind of in and out of first grade, couldn't really get there and done that. So there's every chance for him that he could really excel here, but it is what it is. And this is the hard part about rugby league when you're managing a top 30. It does become a lot harder to manage that, and how you got to keep one player and then you've got to let another one go. People always complain and say, well, we should have kept him instead of him, but it's about managing your top 30. And there was obviously rumours about Isaiah Tass and Pete Mamazelis on the outer, and they're told they're free to look elsewhere. So whether that happens or not, what it does do is it frees up top 30 spots and gives teams a bit more manoeuvring room, where at the moment we're very tight with our top 30 for next year.
Yeah, exactly. And something to remember as well, if you're going to complain about guys being let go or whatever, look, you don't know what the club's planning. Like I said before, we're not inside the four walls. We're not. I mean, I'm not saying we've got another Payne Haas level signing coming, but the club could have something else in the works right now that they need to let some guys go to make it happen. We just don't know. So you never know what's around the corner next.
True. Well, we quickly go into the pathways, and the curtain raiser to our first grade game at 5:30 of the core is our New South Wales Cup. Jersey Flag is playing pretty much at the same day. They're half an hour later, 6 o'clock at Belmore on Friday night, and then we got the women's Saturday at Redfern, all against the Bulldogs, of course, at 1:30 kickoff there, and we've got a few players like Isaiah Tass is back this week. He was out suspended, and of course Matt Humphries is in the halves with Jonah Glover. Even though Jonah Glover's been named on the extended bench, John Raddle's been named in the front row. Tommy Fletcher drops back to New South Wales Cup this week, probably to get him, because he's had a couple of weeks on the extended bench where he hasn't played. So that's probably getting him some game time, with Liam LeBlanc also on the starting as lock there. So we've got some experience in that side. In the New South Wales Cup, Azariah Lenoy is back. I watched him a couple of weeks ago, and he carved Penrith up a couple of weeks ago, and he looks to be quite a good player.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that myself. I sort of been a little bit quite busy lately, so I haven't been able to keep up with the pathways as much. But looking at the ladders, I had a quick look yesterday, and it's crunch time for the first grade side, but it's also crunch time for those two sides as well. I mean, I believe is Jersey Flegg still a top 8, or is it a top 5?
Well, I think it's top 5. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it is as well. So either way, look, both Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cups are sort of teetering on that edge as well. So it's getting down to that sort of stage, same as our first grade side, where they've got some big games coming up that they need to win to make finals in those competitions too. I was gutted with New South Wales Cup over the weekend, an agonising loss. Just so close.
I just want to point out something in New South Wales Cup. They had Latrell doing the goal kicking, and didn't have Matt Humphries, he's been kicking them from all over the place. They didn't have him kicking. I was a bit shocked to see that.
Yeah, but this kind of defies belief. Like, why would you not go with someone who, is on a good run? So yeah, goal kicking's a bit of a problem though.
Our goal kicking, and it looks like Bud's going to be lining them up this week. So
yeah, even more of a worry, to be honest. But we'll see what happens.
Look, we've just got to make sure that we score enough tries to not let goal kicking be an issue. That's the thing that's going to hurt us right now until we get Latrell back. And even Latrell's goal kicking hasn't been great this year. That we need to be on with our goal kicking, and it's a big part of the game, because if you're going up by 4s rather than 6s, we've seen that last week with Parramatta, that instead of being up 36-0, we're up 28-0, and a few tries, they scored 3 quick tries, and all of a sudden it's game on again. So whereas if we had that 36 points, it would have been a bit too big of a mountain to climb. So we've got to make sure we get that right. Particularly
in these big games, like that could be the difference in these high intensity finals games or games like against the Dogs. So yeah, we've got to be better. Look, But just last thing I want to mention, Kempy, we haven't really mentioned it thus far. It's the second week of the NRL's Indigenous round this week. I spoke last week about how much it means to our club and how much it means to me as well as a non-Indigenous person. And
how good were the scenes last week? How good were the scenes?
Amazing. The club
Craig
did
Inglis,
such
Kathy
a good job.
Freeman, Nathan Merritt and Glenn Ella all out there. Great Indigenous sports people throughout history. It was just great to have them all out there.
Yeah, you got to take your hat off to the club. We do it better than anyone else. And look, this is our away fixture this time for Indigenous round, but look, it's still our round. We're still the biggest Indigenous club. I believe we've got the biggest representation of Indigenous players currently. There's plenty of guys in the squad this week to take on the Bulldogs with Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander heritage. So it's another massive game for us, such a special round, and I really, really hope that we get it done in this deadly jersey.
Yeah, well, these are the guys. You got Tallis Duncan, Adam Elliott, Dave Fafita, Jonah Glover, Alex Johnston, Latrell Mitchell, Tyrone Munro, Latrell Seagull, Jaden Sullivan, Zaya Tass, Cody Walker, and Jack White. And they're all our Indigenous representatives of our club.
Yeah, massive representation. It's so special for those guys in particular, and we see them go to another level, particularly someone like Cody, and we're going to need that again this week to beat the Dogs. So hope we can do it. And again, an Indigenous round, they always mean a bit more to get wins in these rounds. So
they do.
Let's go, boys.
Well, that about wraps us up. You've got nothing else, do you, before we do go?
That was my last point. So I'll leave everyone else to enjoy the rest of their week and enjoy the build up to the game, enjoy the anticipation, and just as nervous as I am, I can't wait for Friday, man.
Yeah, no, that's it. Get it happening. And guys, make sure you do like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Appreciate the comments. A couple of you guys leave comments every week, and it's great to see, whether it be on YouTube, on Spotify, if you're doing it on social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok, we're on there. Make sure you do give us a follow on all of our social media platforms to keep up to date with where we'll be, what's going on with the Burrow. And of course, the voting is now closed for the Burrow Appreciation Award. You will have to wait until the Red and Green Ball to find out who has won that, but it was very close, very, very close. But we do appreciate you guys watching each and every week, and we'll be back probably Saturday morning. See how we feel, how we wake up, and do a review of the Dogs game. But for now, I'm Kempy, joined by C-Mac. Go the Rabbitohs.
Go the Bunnies.